Okay, welcome back everyone. So in this video, I will try to create a sample project of Hyperledger Fabric. Now the base code is actually taken from the official website. I mean the documentation where they have some steps, and then you can actually get those projects. And I hope you have done that earlier. In fact, if you don't know what I'm talking about, so you can go to the documentation, and if when you click on install this step, getting started. So when you say install binaries, so basically this will download the binary files and the sample project to understand. You can try different examples. So we'll be using the same thing, but the only problem is when you get the entire project. So this is a script you have to run. So it will give you all the files in your machine. The only problem is when you see the code, it's very bulky. So if you are looking at this for the first time, you might not be enjoying it, right? So in fact, I struggled a lot to understand the entire flow. So what I did is I just broke it down into small parts and we'll go step by step. Now this is not for someone who is very new to Hyperledger Fabric. If you know the basic concepts, the key concepts, you can just explore these things, explore the key concepts and run the sample codes. And then this video will make much more sense. Now, having said that, let's get started with the code itself. So what are the things we need? So as I mentioned, we need binaries, right? So when you do this for the first time, when you download the binaries from the website, make sure that you have that in some folder and we'll copy one by one. Now, which binary I'm talking about? So I already have the binary files with me on some other screen. Let me just get it here. Now, these are the binary files I'm talking about. So basically, I'm using a Visual Studio Code to do all this coding. Of course, you can use any ID with your preference, but I will be using VS Code. Okay, so you can see these are the binary files we need. We need peer, orderer. We also need orderer, service node admin. Then we require CA of client server both. And then to create that certificates, we need cryptogen. Of course, this is only for the development and testing purpose and learning purpose. Don't use it in your production area. Okay, now let's run a script using which you can start the network. Of course, right, when you say you are building a Hyperledger Fabric, what you do, you build a network, and in this network you'll be having multiple organizations, and every organization will have different peers, right? So they will interact. So how will you build that? To achieve that, we can actually write some script. Okay, we can write some commands. The thing is, you will be running this in a Docker, right? So basically, we need Docker where you will run this code as in the container, right? In the Docker container. Now, different peers will run on different containers. Different services will run in different containers. So we have to make sure that you do the configuration. Now, how will you do those configurations? So what we will do is the next thing we need in your in the code is, first of all, let's create a folder where you will write all the code. So I will be using test network. Of course, you can use any project. So let's use testnet. And in this, we need a Docker configuration. So let's use that as it is. Now, this Docker configuration will define what are the things we need, how many peers we needed, how many orderers we need, and and the port number. How do we listen to those services? Example, if you open this, you can see it specifies how many volumes, how many containers you will need. We have different containers for different services. Then every service you have to mention some addresses, right? How will you access them? What is the port number? What's the MSP ID number? In fact, you might be knowing about MSPs, right? So we have all these local variables set so that we can use it. Now this one was for the orderer, this one for the peer one, and this is for the peer two. In fact, we have two peers, right? Two organizations, and each organization will have one peer. So in total, you have two peers. You have to do the configuration. And if you understand even one, if you understand this orderer, it is easier to understand other two. And what if you need some more orderers? What if you need some more peers? Let's say we have third organization. It's very simple, right? You can just come down and copy the same code. Okay, so whatever code you have here, peer 0, organization 2, just say organization 3 and copy paste it, right? So it will work. And of course, you have to change certain things. You need to change this listening address, port number, and this should work. In fact, in upcoming videos, we'll see that as well. As of now, this is our Docker configuration, which will help us to load the containers. Okay, now once you have this, the next thing we need is the commands to execute this, right? We need to load the containers. And as you can see, if I say ds, I might be having some existing service running, but let's say, what ds docker ps -a is yeah. So you can see I don't have any container running as of now. So basically, we have to make sure that you load the containers. So how will you do that? So basically, we need to write a script file, right? So here, what I will do is I will create a script file. Let's say init.sh. This will help me to load my services. Okay, so this is basically a shell script, right? So we'll write a shell script to load the containers. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to set some variables, right? So we need 3 variables as of now. Let's copy those. In fact, I have a code with me. I will just use this. Now where you will get this code, so I will make sure that I will put the link in the description area so that you can pull the repository, the project which I am building. But if you want to see the entire code, of course, you can use the Fabric samples, the website which I have shown you, the documentation. You can get the entire script from there. The next thing we need to, in fact, you know what script I'm talking about. I already have a code on another machine which I'm using to do this. This is actually a simple one which I'm trying to regenerate in the video. So you can see we have so many folders, so many files. In fact, if you see the original project, it's way bulky. Right? So you might have seen that in the earlier videos. I will try to put that video link in the description. So you can see we have to create all these files, and this is what we are going to do in this video. So let me just get that on some other screen. Okay, so once you have this variable, now it's time to load the Docker. So the first variable here is actually the location for the configuration file. You can see we are using a YAML configuration here. And then we need to get the address for the socket as well. Now, once we have those 2 things, let's get started. Why we have so many spaces in between? Okay, so basically we need to load this, right? We need to call that file. Now for that, I can use a Docker compose, and let me just paste that statement here. That's it. By doing this, you are loading your Docker. Now, what do you think? Will it work? Let's try. So basically what we're doing with this is we are just loading the network. I mean, we are just loading the Docker containers, right? With all the configuration mentioned before. Let me just run this. I'm not sure will this work. Let's try. So I can simply jump to that test network, and here I will just try to call the init.sh. Oh, it says permission denied. We have to set the permissions. We'll say 755, and we'll mention the file name, which is init.sh. Oh, init.sh. So basically we are giving the permission to execute, and now once you got the permission, let's execute that. Oh, it is creating the Docker. It's so simple, right? Just by writing those 4 lines, we are able to get these containers. Let's verify if we really got the containers, and you can see we got different containers. Earlier when we ran this, it was not working, and now you can see we have 4 containers. One is a bash itself for the CLI. Then we got order, and we got 2 peers. One for organization 1, one for organization 2. So simple. Okay, what next? Now, once we have loaded the network, the next thing we need to do is we need to, so see, when you say you have to load the network, we got those things, right? We got the files, and we got the containers ready. It's time to create a channel between different organizations, different companies, right? Basically, we have to build the consortium. So we'll do that. So next step is we have to create a channel, right? But even before that, we have certain things. We need to, I mean, you know, when you run this thing again, let's see what happens when you try to run this file once again. It is creating the containers, and it says it's not creating the new one. It is already starting the existing ones. Okay, what I want is I want to remove the old containers. How will you do that? So for that, you have to down the network, right? So to up the network, if you down the network, you know what we need to do is we need to basically put this thing in a function. So I will put this thing in a function called network up. Of course, you can use any name, doesn't matter actually. But let me just use this network up function. This looks cool, right? And we'll put this all the thing in here, because normally we put the functions up and we have to call them, right? So here, I will call that particular function. It's that simple. Okay, and there's one more thing, you know, when you call this script, maybe you want to mention what exactly you want to do. Do you want to up the network? Do you want to create a channel? Do you want to destroy the network, right? What you want to do. So in that case, you know, next time when I run this, I will also mention what I want to do. So when I say up, it will start the network. When I say create channel, it will create a channel for me. I can also specify down the network. So to pass those parameters, we have to first accept the value, right? So what I will do is I will just use these 2 things. Okay, so basically I'm fetching the value. So whatever value you pass here after this init.sh, it will go into this mod. And now using this mod, I can check what is the value. Is it up? Is it create channel? Is it down? And based on that, I will call a particular function. Example, I will use a if condition here before I call network up. So if this matches, then only I will call it. Otherwise, I will not call it. Right? I will not call network up if it is not up. Let's verify if that works. So you can see if I'm not passing a value, it is not doing anything. But when I pass the value, it will up the network. That's what we wanted, right? So to up the network, you have to pass up. But then what if you want to create a channel? What if you want to down it? In that case, we need two more things. So I will just copy that and paste it here. So we need else if we need create channel. For that, we'll call a function called create channel. If it is down, we need to create something called network down. But as of now, you can see we don't have all these functions. We only have one function here. So of course, you guessed it right. We need to create those functions. So the first thing we need is we need to create a channel. So let me just create that function here. So I will say function create channel, and here I can just do the channel creation stuff. But as of now, I just want to complete the down as well. So I will say network down, and here I will write a code for network down. And for that, we just need to use the simple docker command, compose command basically. So the way you have for up, we have docker compose. The only thing you do is you're saying up and down. Simple stuff, right? And it also says remove auth and remove the volumes. That's great. And one more thing, maybe it will not remove everything. So what I can do is I can just copy some more lines to make sure that all the volumes are also properly removed. So basically we are removing the peers and stuff from this Docker. Okay, anything else we need to do here? In future, once we start doing this, we'll be creating some folders, some artifacts. So every time you run this code, it will create some artifacts. Example, you can see we created Docker folder, that's correct. But what about the organization? We have not done that. Script, we have not done that. Genesis block, we have not done that. So these folders have been automatically created. So we also need to remove them. So we can just use these two lines to remove this. So basically we are using all this line just to empty the entire Docker. So we will not be using them. So as of now, if I say docker ps-a, you can see we have some services running. And now I want to stop those services. I can simply say down. Okay. And we got an error. Where's the error? So we are opening it here. Then, okay, on which line we have error on line number 10? Oh, is it because this is empty? Let's try. Oh, it was because of that empty. So now if you see, if I say down, it is stopping all the containers. And done, removed. And now if I run the docker command, you can see it is empty again. So basically till this point, we were able to up the network and we were able to down the network, right? So both things are working. Now it's time to go for the create channel. Okay, that is something remaining now. So how will you set up the create channel? Again, very simple. To create the channel, we will be using a separate script because it's not a simple stuff, right? We have to do a lot of things when you say create channel, and we will be putting that in a particular file. In fact, we know even before we create the channel, we missed one more thing. Okay, let me just try that once and let's see what we missed. Oh, okay, it's not going up now because again of this thing. So when I say up, it should create organizations as well, and you can see we don't have. Do we have the organizations? Okay, we do have the organization, but we don't have the crypto material for them. See, the thing is, every organization needs certificates, right? And then we need to do one more thing to create those certificates, and we have not done that yet. So basically, even before we do this, even before we load the network, we need to create the organization, and for that we will be using this statement here. Okay, so basically to do that, we need to generate those certificates. Okay, so this is where you do that. So the code for that is cryptogen generate. It will generate the certificates for the organizations. Now, where do you specify the configuration? You can see we have to specify the configuration in this cryptoconfig.yaml file. And okay, but we don't have this file as of now. So it's time to create that file. So let me repeat. So basically to use these organizations, different companies in the network, they need certificates. And to do that, we'll be using cryptogen tool. Of course, this is only for development purpose. If you're doing this for the production, you will be using external CAs, right? So using cryptogen, you can generate certificates, and the configuration will be saved in this cryptoconfig.yaml file, and it will be stored inside this organization folder, right? So this is where you will be storing it. Okay. So basically, if you want to achieve that, we will be using a crypto file, and for that, let me just copy paste here. So in this, we'll be having a cryptogen folder in the organization, and in this, you will be having cryptoconfig.yaml. Now, if I open this, it's a very simple file. This is where you mention the configuration for whatever crypto you want. So you do it for two things: order organizations and peer organization. So you can see we will be having two peers here. We have two organizations, organization 1 and 2, and we have one order peer belongs to this domain. As of now, we are enabling the organization units, but we'll discuss this later. Ignore this part. And then that's the host name. Now for the peers, you can see we have multiple organizations, right? org1 and org2. They will be having different domains as mentioned. And then in one particular organization, how many peers you need. So when you say count 1, you will be getting only 1 peer. If you say 2, you will get 2 peers. When you say 5, you will get 5 peers, right? Now the name for those peers would be very simple. If you say 1 peer, it's very simple. You will get the peer name as peer 0. And if you say 2, you will get peer 1 as well. So that's how the naming convention goes. But there's a way you can also specify a name for each peer. We will try to see that later. So that's it. This is the file you have to pass and it will give certificates to you. And I hope this time it will work. So now, again, the same step. Every time you want to up the network, first you have to down the network. There should be one more option of restarting. Maybe we'll see that later. There's an option of restarting in the main project. You can try it out, which will down the network and up the network. But since we don't have that code yet, let's do it down and up manually. Okay, so it is removed and now I can say up to up the network, cryptogen command not found. Now what's the issue? The issue is cryptogen is a tool and it's not able to find the path. So whenever you specify a command, you have to also specify the path for it, right? And as of now, we have not specified the path for cryptogen. And the way you can do that is very simple actually. Let me just copy paste it here. So this is a path you have to set and that's it. I hope it will work. Down and up. So you can see it says something different this time. And let's verify if we got the certificates. And that's right, you can see that in the peer and in the order as well, we got CAs and MSPs. So things are working out. Okay, we got the certificates as well. So in this video, we just tried to up the network and down the network. In the next video, we will try to create the channel.